All right, here we go. Hello and welcome to Teach with Takhia. This is episode 3. A is for apply. And so at Teach with Takhia, we are talking about spaces where learning is designed for purpose and it transforms lives. I am your hostess, Takia the teacher. So let's get started. So we've been working on the last 3 days on how to build out our coaching programs. And so we're going to continue that work today. So on Monday, our first video was about the transformation that is required to even put your coaching program into existence. So that's to transform you before it can transform your client, your mentee, your coachee, your student, whatever name you want to give to them. But on Monday, we did a little bit of a deep dive into what that transformation looks like and how you want that to come through in your client. On yesterday, we talked about E is for equip, and that is pulling in those skills and things that you know and that will enable you to help your client reach that transformation. Additionally, it's also thinking about the things that you want them to be able to do as part of the program or the skills that they're going to use in order to reach the level of transformation. And so, again, today we are on A is for apply. And so the application step is where you take the transformation and you make it a repeatable real world action step. And so one of the things in teaching all the time is like you don't really know what you know until you have to teach it to somebody else. And so in the act of teaching it to somebody else, that is your application step. And you want something similar for those who are in your programs. Um, and so this was our recap from where we were. And so when you get to apply, you want to be able to answer the question, okay, so now what do I do this? How do I do that? And in the beginning, your overall goal might just be so that, the person that you're working with, they can be a better person, they can be a better mom, they can be a better budgeter. But I want you to lean into that a little further, like be more specific about what it is that they should be able to do and how they should be able to apply these things. And so what you want to look at overall is the fact that, okay, this person finishes your program in 3 months, what should they be able to do with the transformation that you've said that they're going to have, with the equipment and the tools and the skills that they've been able to amass? How does that appear to the rest of the world? That's your application. Like, how does anybody else know that you've gone through some sort of transformation? What does that look like in practice? And so in my day job, we write objectives all the time. And so the formula that I like to use for your objectives is, students, clients, etc., will be able to, and after that too comes your transformation. And so students, clients will be able to create an outline of their coaching program by using the Teach framework in order to create programs that have lasting um, transformation. Just a loose version off the top. But you want to think about what they will be able to do, which is your transformation, by which goes into the methods and the things that you're going to teach them. So that's where you start going into that tool bag and pull out the specific method you're going to use to do that thing. And then in order to is your application. So for me, the in order to has a couple of different ways, and that I was going back and forth with how to actually word this, because what actually the in order to is that once we do this for your overall program, sorry, my glasses are loose. Once we do this for your overall program, you should then be able to take the same method, the same steps, the same things that we've done for this past week and use that as you create the modules for your program. And then once you have your modules in place, you can do the same thing and repeat your lessons. And then this is just a repeatable thing. So once you get module 1 finished, you do the lessons in module 1, you go back, you do the same thing for module 2, you do the same thing for module 3, however many modules it is you decide to have in your program. But remember, on day 1, we said it's probably a good idea to cap it at about 3 to 5. I say 3 is a sweet spot, but that's just me. But then I have a 5-part framework. So there you have it. It just depends on how you have things mapped out. So Again, our worked out example is that for this week of learning, students will be able to create client-centered coaching programs and courses by implementing the Teach framework in order to create courses that leave a lasting impact. And so the application is that when you come out of here, your course leaves an impact on your learner, okay? So, and this is the thing, when I say that it should be repeatable, the skill set doesn't change regardless of where you use it. So for me, I've been in the classroom for over 20 years. I taught mathematics, taught computer science, taught technology, same framework. Now I'm in ministry. I've led Vacation Bible School. I'm teaching in our church's college. Similar things. I've done it with coaching. I've coached clients through building their program. All three same things of the fact that I am supposed to teach people how to do something by specific methods in order to have them use it for the rest of their lives. So if I'm teaching eighth graders math, then the goal is that the math they learn in eighth grade is things that they will be able to use and carry with them throughout the rest of their academic careers. In ministry, if I am teaching a group of leaders how to teach effectively, then we should produce, or the church should have, courses that are well designed, well led, and well taught, because those in charge have gone through the training and the practicum to be able to do the thing. With coaching, it's the same thing. I should be able to coach you through being able to create your program because you're watching me as I am building my program and I'm modeling the thing that I want you to do for your own. And then in an off topic, because I used to work in banking, so finance is usually one of my go-to examples because I spent so many years working in banking. And so if you're teaching budgeting, if you're teaching savings, if you're investing, however it is that comes out, you can still use the same framework all the time. I can take the Teach framework and apply it to a finance objective. I actually have written a finance curriculum some years ago. So the thing that you want to remember with your applications and how they show up in your program is that it's the same skills, it's the same transformation. The only thing that's different is the room and perhaps the results that you get from that room. So if you are talking to, wouldn't use the same verbiage, language, etc., in speaking with a group of eighth graders that I would use speaking to in a bunch of adult leaders. Now, is there some overlap? Could be. But the assumption is that adult leaders, with the group of people in the room, at bare minimum, have a high school diploma, which means that they should have a slightly higher edge than the eighth graders, if not higher. And that's not to, delineate anybody's or downplay anybody's intelligence or any of that. It's just the train of thought. If I am working with coaches, I am working with people who have presumably gone through some level of event that has caused them to want to help other people. B, they've gone through training, certification, perhaps, that are actually helping and guiding them through what it is they're putting together. And three, they actually want to learn how to deliver that thing in a way that their clients have lasting changes and impact. And if they are one of those people that think in like broad scale items, then you definitely want to make sure that you are designing your programs in a way that once your clients get through phase one and they're ready to move on to phase two, that you have phase two available for them. It's different in walking with someone through their journey than it is to make that person completely reliable upon you. And so we don't want the end where anyone has to be reliable. When you go through this program, I want you to be able to take it and start a whole new program without me being involved at all, without you even being in the program. Now, if you would like to stay for the community and to get feedback, and all of those things are welcome, and you should do that. So you have somebody to bounce your ideas off of, because that's what separates the Build My Program Lab from a lot of the other Build My Program situations, challenges, or things that you'll find. It's the interaction piece to it. And so while you're thinking about your applications, you want to keep it to maybe 1 to 3 things. Now, remember, because now we're keeping in mind that we are building out the outline for your entire program, you could maybe go with 3, because then those become your modules that go into your program. Again, no more than 5. If you have to have 5, I can say 5 because Teach has 5 letters in it. So I kind of Slightly broke my own rule per se, but not so much. It just depends on how your framework is set for what you do. Um, so you want to look at the things that people are able to do in order to get through the transformation or get to the transformation. And the applications are what those steps look like. Also, what we'll talk about tomorrow as far as cultivate is that as you are deciding what the applications look like, keep in mind that you may have to create and recreate instances for them to do these things because all of them are not going to be able to have ways of practice and means of doing them um, once they leave from off your Zoom, out of your in-person gathering, or however you choose to run your program. So you're going to, as you are developing your applications, think about ways that you can make those things happen, and then that will help lead us into what we're actually going to be discussing tomorrow. So, timelines, just so that you don't feel like you are out of space, out of step. Like, is this really, really wrong? Or is this taking too long? In general, it takes a year to a year and a half to develop a curriculum. That's school related, training class related. It's a while to get all of those pieces together because, again, you're looking at how people learn, how they receive information. You're doing pilots along the way. And so before you get to the final version of your program, it may take a minute. You may go through many different iterations. Your module one could change every time you run the program for the next couple of times that you do it, because along the way, you're learning things that work, things that don't work. You're thinking about things that you would like to add, things that should be added. And you're also getting feedback from those one-on-one clients who you're working with while you're building. Now, can you do it all in a sprint? Yes. In 30 days, it is possible to put together a curriculum from start to finish. Is it always advisable? Perhaps not, but it can be done, but it requires you to like dive in head first, all in, eat, sleep, drink, your program and the build for it. And if that is something that's of interest to you, we can have a separate conversation. But just so you'll know, it can be as short as 30 days, it can be up to a year and a half. No matter where you fall in that scale, don't feel any type of way about it. It's just the pace that you need to move at for you, and you're the only person that can decide what that pace is. So, another thing that comes up often is that in today's society, um, a lot of coaches have now gone to the space where they let AI do the driving and they're just consuming whatever the screen puts back out. And so it's one thing that you use it to get ideas, help you with an outline, kind of bounce ideas off of in those moments where you maybe can't get to a human. There's nobody to send a message to at 3 a.m. when you're in design mode and you need to talk some things out. I get it. I do it. I've done it. I'm not bashing AI or any of that. One of the things though that we're going to look at within the lab is how to use it responsibly. And so just like I had the same feelings with let AI write your book, I feel the same way with let AI design your course and your program. It's a predictor of patterns. So it leaves out a lot of the human element that you're not going to get when you actually hands-on dive into your program and start putting those things together yourself. Get an outline, get some ideas, get some topics, great and fantastic, but don't just let it spit everything back out to you. You say, they say, this is how they should react. This is what, none of it's actually going to be true. That's not the way that things happen. People generally some of them will react the way that the AI predicts, some of them will not, but in its predictions of how people act, it is also taking into account the way that you've presented information to it. And so more times than not, it's going to give you back the ideal version of how people should act based on information that it's already gotten from you. And so you don't want that to be your driver for how you set up your program, because what that then kind of creates that you don't really think about on the backside, but I'm going to tell it to you up front, is that it creates a program full of mini yous. And you don't necessarily want a program full of mini yous. You want a program full of people that you have coached through something that you have been through, and they have found a way to do that thing that works for them using skills and things that you have taught them, but you don't have to create a mini you, nor should you. And so it works in whatever field you're in. Again, skills are transferables. So entrepreneurs, coaches, leaders, teachers, principals, admin staff. If you work in the marketplace, if you work in church, if you're in a public school, private school, all of these things, think about all of the different places that they would have to apply the transformation that they're going to, because we don't live in boxes. We live in the world. There are many different interactions with different type of people we have to have. And the thing with all of the coaching programs and the things that we're doing, and if you're doing Christian biblical coaching, if you're doing life coaching, if you're doing finance coaching, whatever it is that you're doing, people are going to use it more than one space. I've recently done parallel work with the Teach framework where I'm working with individuals who are using it to walk through areas of their lives. How and why? Because I was able to do the same thing. So it's not just the fact that I created a framework that only works in classrooms or only works in the spaces of creating courses and designing programs. It works for life. And so when you are thinking about the things that you want for your program, yourself, and for your clients, you want it to have that sort of feel to it. They should be able to use it in more than one place, and realistically any place that they need to, or any place that it applies. And so, again, just to reiterate, by the end of this week, my goal for you is that you have a working outline for your entire coaching program or your course. And we'll be doing that. Did I put the link in here? The link is in the comments for how to get the workbook. And so if you have not yet gotten your copy, then please make sure you do download it. You can actually type into it so that you don't have to worry about, I need to find a printer so I can print it. I've taken care of all of that. It's a really simple document, but it's a very useful document. So it allows you to give you space to type in your ideas, get them out so that you have all of your things that you want to have available. And then when you start building your modules, you have something to go on. If you are interested in joining the Build My Program Lab, we are starting September 1st. There's two ways that you can do that. You can join the self-paced program, which is be held in the teacher community, or you can join the actual lab, and the lab has some other things that go with it. We'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow, but if you would like more information, please see the video description, and you can set up a time for us to talk and we can talk about it that way. And then the link to the program in the description will also be in the show notes. And so thank you for joining in today, and we'll see you next week. Or no, see you tomorrow for episode 4. C is for cultivate. Have a great day.